Hey. Welcome to the 6th episode of Cave Haunters, your one and only source for all of the information leading up to the 2012 season of the Haunted Appalachian Caverns. I'm your host, Hunter, and after our magical mystery tour of the Blue Plum Festival, we are back here at the Appalachian Caverns. Today we're going to meet with Rob again, so he can teach us our first little tutorial. He's going to teach us how to make a burnt wall panel. I've got my 2x2 hands of blue on because I was in the workshop with him. So stick around and enjoy episode 6, Burnt Wall Panel of the Cave Haunters series. Stick around. We are down here in the barn slash workshop area. We're here with Rob Metcalf again, and we're also here with Brady because here on the Haunted Appalachian Caverns we have no problems whatsoever with child labor. He's also going to be one of the creepers that you're going to see down in the caves. But we're down here today to make a burnt wall panel.
Yep.
I keep wanting to say section, and I keep wanting to call him Brandy. Today's one of those days. So how do we start with this?
Basically what we're starting with, just a basic sheet of plywood, like I see right here. Find whatever the flattest side is of that plywood to begin with. That way we got a nice flat surface to start working with.
Okay.
And basically what we'll be using this for, because we want a wall that appears to be burnt.
Okay.
But of course we can't really burn it.
Yeah.
Because then it's not structurally sound enough.
Correct.
So we have to make the illusion. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to start with great stuff.
What exactly is great stuff? Because there are many things on this planet that I would call great stuff. Like Skittles are pretty great. Alcohol, I'm a fan of that. But what is great stuff?
Great stuff, what it actually is, it's a insulating foam.
Okay.
But it comes in a can, spray can. You can use it for anything.
Anything.
And you're about to see one of the many applications because no, it does not have this part on the directions on the back, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, they didn't.
How to use
they didn't intend it.
Wall sections out of panels.
Right. I'm pretty sure that was not the original idea.
Probably not. But
it still works. Basically, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take it and you'll spray it just here, there, everywhere, all over it. And now Brady will show you, hey, what you basically do is you'll just take your hand and you'll tap it to kind of give it a little bit of texture. See how it knocks down the foam, but it still leaves some big chunks. The big chunks will eventually become your bubbles, like where it would burn.
Okay.
That's what that's going to be. So if you want to help him tap some of that down, and I'll finish spraying down in this way.
So why are we wearing gloves aside from the messy aspect of it?
Mostly the messy aspect, but actually sometimes the gray stuff and the other materials we'll be using will irritate some people's skins, make them itch a little bit. So we're always safety first here, always. Because I do notice a lot of other hunters, especially when they do some tutorial stuff, they don't always do all the safety things. But we try to make sure most of our people stay safe, you know.
Yeah, that's nice because if people die, I want to say that they probably won't come back.
Exactly. We're all about repeat customers, yeah.
Okay, so after the great stuff has been patted down, where do we go from there?
Where do we go from there? All right, the next part, I'm going to grab the sand there, Brady. We'll actually start with just the joint compound or the drywall putty.
Okay.
That's actually what we'll start with next. Kind of stir it up here because it's been sitting for a few minutes here. We'll take it and we'll actually mix it with sand to kind of start off right
now,
here.
Why do you mix it with sand?
Mix it with sand. A lot of people call this mixture a monster mud. A lot of haunted houses use this technique. But what it is actually for is it just gives instead of just being smooth like sheetrock would be if you were smoothing it on that, this will actually give it a little bit of a grainy texture.
Okay.
I mean, it's real simple, and that way, you know, you're not paying a lot for one that's already got that in it. Basically, we'll just take just a little bit, which we got our little mixing bucket right here.
Now, you had said earlier that a lot of places will mix their paint in with the sand.
A lot, and especially when they're doing like the monster mud. The reason I don't in this scenario is because of the great stuff that I use first.
Okay.
Where I got multiple layers, I like to, because then I would have to dye the great stuff too, and it's just easier to paint it all at once than to have this one color and then have to go back and do that as well.
Okay.
But like I said, we'll just kind of start out right here. We'll just mix just a little bit of sand. There's no real measurement to this. You just go till you basically get right at the texture that you want.
And there's sand and leaves and gravel.
Yeah, this sand's been sitting outside. Usually I'll just use a thing of playground sand. But in this case, we just already had some sitting out there that I think actually was some playground sand, but got left outside. So we're just leaving the leaves and everything in it.
Yeah. For
some added texture. Should pour just a tad more in there, Brady. All right, Hunter, so the next step now that some of this great stuff's dried a little bit, you just want to reach in here, grab a little handful of this joint compound or monster mud stuff right here. You're just going to throw it on there. You're going to start smoothing it out with your hand like this. Yeah, see, just like Brady's doing right there.
I actually want to throw it. Here we go. Making a mess.
Yep, now when you're going here, like the big clumps of great stuff, try to like go around those and kind of just leave a little circle around them where still a little bit of the green showing on the wood. Looks like mold. Yep, it'll eventually end up looking like mold on the wooded walls.
Important aspect of this whole scenario, wear clothes you don't mind getting dirty. That's pretty much everything that I wear always in my life. But just so you know, don't do this in like, you know, three-piece suit, because you'll come out.
Fair enough.
You'll come out looking like you got crapped on by a bunch of birds. So messy clothes are a good thing here.
All right. Once you get it kind of spread out just a little bit, because of course we don't want this appearing to be smooth. So all you're gonna do is you just take your hand, lay it down on it, and just pull it up. See how it makes like little ridges in it? And no rhyme or reason to that, just make sure that it's not smooth.
And then where do we go from there? We just cover the whole thing?
Yep, we'll cover the whole thing, and then you wait an hour or two till it dries, and then it's ready for paint.
So magical movie time has happened, and an hour and a half, 2 hours has passed. And this is our board, and we're ready to paint it now. So we've got some
Brown.
Just brown.
Just straight brown. And a lot of, depending on your color, is depending on what kind of look you're going for in the room. Of course, here we're saying we want the burnt walls, because you can use this same thing for just a textured wall, but in this case we're going for a burnt wall. So I'm going to start with just a brown layer to begin with. Okay. We're basically just going to roll it on. And some of the bigger chunks may flake when you're rolling it on this way, but that's fine, because especially we're going for the burnt look. It's just going to look like it flaked off.
All right, and what, like, for the sake of the story, what is the purpose behind the burnt wall panels?
The burnt wall panels, okay, so if you think about a morgue where they burn all the bodies in the little incinerators, this is actually going to be the walls for the incinerator room this year. We're coming in and, you know, where you walk in, you'll be burnt alive.
Okay, and because again, this year it's the theme is the Cave Hill Asylum. Yep. So when the crazy people die, we got to get rid of the crazy people. So burning takes up less space than burying, I suppose.
Exactly.
So when you do this paint thing, where do we go from the paint? Like why is that? Like, why is that important for the particular room? Like,
well, you think about it, you're talking about basically where I'm just starting with a brown. I mean, you think about it, anytime you burn any kind of wood or anything, you try to think of the colors that you see when you see it. And to me, I see really dark browns, really dark blacks, just a tad bit of white, like you'll see coming through where we're not exactly covered in this grate. And that's the colors I see. Yeah. When I see something that's burnt. So that's exactly what I'm going to.
Good job, good job. It's hot, so we're going to try to hurry up and finish this and then move on to the next step. God, it's so hot out here. All right, the brown has been put onto the panel, and now So you can still see these where the great stuff was. It actually looks really cool. It looks like it's bubbled up, like
Yep.
the paint would bubble up and chip like that when
Exactly.
fire is added to it. Now, where do we go after the brown?
All right, so if you think about like anything that gets burnt, you have the fire that'll like usually run up the wall. So instead of just painting this completely solid black, just take a spray can, just basic black, cheap stuff for this scenario. Basically what we'll do is we'll just hit it with just a little bit of black, just here and there. Won't try to really cover it off, leave brown in between. Do some spots a lot darker than others, and just basically do some lines.
So this is going to give the illusion of the scorch mark,
Right.
where fire would be running up the wall.
And you can make them run different ways if you want to try that out, because I mean it's real simple. Just spray it on. And don't worry if it drips everywhere, because it just kind of adds to the illusion. There's no real rhyme or reason to this. It's just because fire is not exactly
Controlled substance.
Yeah.
It kind of. I learned that when I watched Backdraft.
right.
Kurt Russell taught me that. Okay, so once you kind of get an idea of the scorch mark patterns that you're going to do, is there anything like you should pay more attention to the bubbles? Because I saw you put more.
I did that to kind of cover it because we left a little more than what I liked right there in that area.
Yeah.
And you will notice too that a lot of times there'll be like a little bit of that green. It'll still show through if you do the plywood like we did. But I love that because to me it looks like they've tried to put a fire out and it's created a little bit of mold growing in there, so it just adds a little more depth to the wall panel.
Yeah, good deal.
You'll notice there's still a little bit of the white showing too. We didn't completely cover it with the brown, but to me it makes it look like little chip marks in the wood where it's broke off little pieces. Just a little more realism.
So what you're saying is basically if it's not perfect, there's a good, easy, simple way to lie and bullshit your way out of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the most beautiful thing about the haunted house. It's
I messed up, but it was on purpose
Purpose.
because there's mold and chip paint.
like, yeah,
Shut up. Boo!
that's right. But I mean, you don't want everything to be absolutely
Yeah,
perfect and
yeah,
everything hot. You want it to look aged. You want it to look, and I mean, yeah, and plus, basically, if you just want to be lazy and kind of half-ass it to an extent, you kind of can.
You have that built-in luxury.
Right, but I mean, yeah, we've actually took some time, you know, really added the textures. There's a lot of detail in this that people don't really realize.
Oh yeah, it's because I'm just like you can see where the handprints were put in and then pulled up, and you can see where the great stuff was put in, and like you can see the imperfections in the paint, and that makes it seem like a more legitimate, more real, detailed experience, and that's actually really neat to have been able to see all of the steps in this process. Where I mean, if you're just going to be in the cave, you're just going to be walking by this and not really put a lot. But if you get to actually have the time to stop and look, I mean, it's what makes Disney World so great. If you actually have the time to stop and look, they've put so much effort into the detail, and that's one of the great
that's
things
kind of why
about
we
this.
wanted you to come in and do this episode so everybody can see the detail that we
Oh,
try
yeah.
to put into everything. Because we want people to see, because I mean, yeah, you'll be running through, you'll be a little scared, won't necessarily notice every little detail. But now if you come through and you're like, oh, I'm in that room, you know, you'll be like, oh, well, that's how they did that, you know?
All right, and here is the finished product of our labor. As you can see, some of the stuff here's the great stuff that's bubbled up like the heat has hit it, and here's the contoured stuff from where we were putting our hand on there with the monster mud, as it was called. You'd actually see the fingerprints around it. You know, who would have thought that this is that same green board that we were using earlier on. So it's a giant transformation has happened. Hey, and if you want to be part of these transformations, the giant builds for the Haunted Appalachian Caverns is about to start this Friday, June 15th. And those are going to run from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here at the Appalachian Caverns in Bloomfield, Tennessee. So hey, come on out and help. We can use all the help we get. You get to see my wonderful personality. But that was our 6th episode where we did our first tutorial. If you guys want to learn more, need more information, hop onto YouTube. Questions, comments, concerns. Don't like my face? Hop on there and just let us know, and we're going to try to get that stuff out to you. But that was our 6th episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm your host, I'm Hunter, and I'm here to remind you that there's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect. Peace.